Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think the interesting, comment, because I personally believe, and I've served with others on the Oversight Committee, and I've actually questioned the Commissioner on many occasions. I have found sometimes basically getting more fruitful answers from the wall than I did from him, because he would basically just not answer questions. He would tell one story, then find out, just a few days later it was not the right story, then come back. I think the groundwork has been laid by many of the questions of my fellow congressmen here, and that this is an issue that should be brought forward. I want to Mr. Turley, I want to go back to you, and we've talked about this some, and Mr. McCarthy, I've heard the terms thrown around today, paper tiger, Congress has lost its authority. Let's deal with this, and it just came out, I think, Mr. McCarthy, you just said, we probably should be using this more, the impeachment process. I would like just, because you made the comment, both of you, to address that for a moment, because we do have the power of the purse, but in in the issues that we have now with the divided, I believe this administration has played to the weakness, if there is, in the constitutional system. When you had a Congress that it has trouble passing issues, they have played right into that, and they have exploited it in a way. Is impeachment the best way for us to go about that in holding some of this accountable? And I'll take from either one of you.
Well, my preference in these types of cases is first to start with contempt, and part of my testimony highlights the fact that this body used to exercise contempt authority, actual enforcement directly as a body, and it agreed with the Department of Justice to the statutory process. That
is great. I want to, you brought it, and I want to talk about that. Here's another issue, though. When we have a Department of Justice that is being politically motivated and driven to not follow up on this, take that step as well. We can hold in contempt, and we've done that, but yet we cannot get them to take up the case. Is there maybe another way that we can go about that, or to attack directly to the Department of Justice for not following the contempt orders issued by Congress?
Well, actually, for years I've testified in front of this committee suggesting that you re-examine the deal you struck with the Department of Justice. I think the Justice Department is in clear, flagrant violation of what it promised this body. It promised to be a neutral agent to take contempt referrals from this body. 1982, it refused to submit Burford. 1982 again, refused to submit Bolton. 2008, refused to submit Myers. 2012, refused to submit Holder, all to a grand jury proceeding. It was an agreement with this body when you went to the statutory process that they would be an honest broker, and they have not been when the person accused is a member of the administration. So in my testimony, I say it's really long overdue for the House to look at some of its original authority, the deal it struck, also to look at alternatives, including fines, including financial penalties, which actually can be meted out for people who are censored or held in contempt. In terms of impeachment, yes, it's an extraordinary remedy, but we're living in extraordinary times. That if you believe that that the IRS Commissioner knowingly lied to this committee, if you believe that there was obstruction of this committee, I don't know of anyone who doesn't believe that can be an impeachable offense. It rests with your judgment as to the culpability of his actions. But the problem is that this institution has allowed its powers to atrophy. And as a result, you have rational actors in the executive branch, and they balance detection against penalty. And if they see no penalty, they're going to conclude as rational actors that there's very little reason to cooperate with Congress when it could bear costs, when not cooperating with Congress bears no costs.
Mr. McCarthy, you agree?
Yeah, I would just say that, to my mind, the focus on contempt gets further away from what the purpose of impeachment was. The emphasis here is not on the venality of the actor, it's on the damage to the governing structure. And if you have somebody who is abusing his authority in a way that threatens the governing structure, the public interest is in removing the power from the person, whether that person is personally sanctioned in the judicial system or otherwise is a very interesting question and a very important question, but it's beside the point of what this is about, which is protecting our governing framework.
Well, and I think that's the part right there for all of us who, especially in the House, who, as always said, is closest to the people. We have to stand for it. Like just coming off of election, we answer to our constituents on a smaller level as far as the federal government goes. And this is the part they don't understand. They don't understand how an executive branch makes that cost analysis decision on penalty and gain. They don't understand that because they don't get it in their own workplaces. If they don't do their job, if they don't follow through, if they don't follow even the IRS, which is the most egregious example, if they don't do what the IRS asks, they get put in jail, they get sanctioned. This is the part that concerns me. Atrophied muscles hurt when you start to exercise them. And I think there will be pain as we begin this process, but if Congress does not start looking for ways, then I agree with your paper tiger comment, but I'm not willing to be a paper tiger. I think this Congress has to do this, and this is the perfect example, because if you watched any of the hearings in OGR in which I was a part of, in which the chairman has continued and the other members here have continued, this is an outrage. This man needs to go. And with that, I yield back.